Hey everyone, Cameraman Railfan here, and welcome to another video. As you can probably tell, we're going to be doing something a little bit different today. I'm sure many of you have seen Amtrak Guide 365 do a tier list on Amtrak locomotives. Well, today we're going to be doing a tier list on BNSF locomotives. Before we get started, I do want to go over a few things. 1. I'm not going to be ranking these based on how well each one performs. This is going to be solely my opinions on how they look and if they have impacted my life in any way, shape, or form. Second thing, this does not mean that Engines of BNSF is going to be returning. At least not until the summer. I unfortunately do not have any plans anytime soon to bring that series back. Yes, I do, July 29th. So I'm sorry if you were looking forward to that, but it's not happening anytime soon. Again, yes it is, I just gave you a date. And one last thing before we start. The arrangements down here, it's not all in any particular order. It's kind of just organized off by EMD, GE, and then other EMD. Just thought I'd point that out there. But anyways, let's get started. First up, GP60. Honestly, this is the only standard Jeep I can identify. I don't know what it is, whether it's that 3-digit number or the slightly lowered headlight, but every time I see this, I go, oh, GP60. But that aside, these are cool, and I would go B tier on these, but I saw one of these leading Amtrak once. That was amazing. So I'm going to put them at A tier. GP60M. I'm going to be honest, as a kid, I hated these. And that was mostly due to the fact that this was a wide cab unit, but it wasn't a cowl unit. And the fact too that these have an off-centered headlight, that was really what drove me over the edge for these. But I grew up, and now I love these. These are amazing. I wish I would see these more. And by that, I mean ever. The only time I've ever seen them was on Amtrak back in 2018. So please, send some my way. And now I would go A tier on these, but I'm a sucker for war bonnets. S tier. GP60B. Like the GP60M, these are a Santa Fe exclusive. When it comes to B units in general, I really don't have that big of an opinion on them. They just exist, yeah, but these ones in particular are painted in war bonnet. S tier. Every other Jeep. Okay, so when it comes to every other Jeep, I feel the same about every single one. I cannot identify any of them. I have to do research on them. If I see one, I'm just going to look it up. Because not only are there so many, but BNSF has done a lot of rebuilds and reclassifications, and it gets confusing for me. So I'm just going to put these over at B. SD9. To be honest, this is the locomotive that I think I have the least to say about. This one sort of just exists. There's really nothing special about it, and seeing these on the BNSF roster of all things, it's a little interesting to me. I don't hate these, but there's definitely better ones on this list, so C tier. SD40. This is a good one. I love the SD40s, mostly because of the variety they have, in terms of you have some that are still painted Santa Fe, some that are painted Burlington Northern, Heritage 1, Heritage 3. I also find the snoot noses quite interesting. Compared to the normal ones, it's definitely interesting to see. But overall, these are great units, so I'm going to put them at A tier. SDF 40-2. Okay, this one I take a little bit of issue with. I always find it weird every time I see a cowl unit in freight service. That just does not look right to me. These belong in passenger service more so. And this one in particular, I take issue with how the front design is, with the cutouts on the nose and the handrail design. But you know what? At the end of the day, I would have loved to see these in service. The thing with these units too is that there were so little of them. I think out of the 150 that Amtrak bought, only 18 were acquired by the Santa Fe, so that made them a little bit more rare and unique to see in service. Either way, whether they were with Santa Fe or with Amtrak, I would have still liked to have seen these. But those issues I have with the design just keep it from going further up, but still, not terrible. C. SD45 and SD40-2R. These are cool. That's really all I have to say about them. To be honest, I don't see these enough to give an opinion on them. In fact, I don't think I've actually ever seen one of these in real life. But you know what? I will give BNSF huge props for restoring 5704 back into a bicentennial. So because of that, A tier. HH20... Oh. Rightfully going right there. whatever the hell this thing is. No comment. Oh my god, it keeps getting worse. Why? Why? Why do these exist? Why are these even a thing, is my question. These are so ugly that I don't even think I could even consider them locomotives. Just get them out of here. They deserve to be wiped off the face of this planet. 3GS21B. Compared to the ones that we just saw, this looks way better. And by that I mean barely. D. PR30C. Compared to what we just saw, this one actually looks more like a locomotive. It is a little strange with the radiator design and how the front is. It's kind of like an SD40 and an SD70 ACE mushed together. But given what we just saw, this is way better than those ones, that's for sure. So I'll put this one at C. B23-7. I'm gonna probably get hate for this, but I'm not a fan. Dash 7s, in general, not my cup of tea. And realistically, anything before 1990 from General Electric, it's gonna be a mixed bag for me. My real big issue here is the headlight. I don't know why it is horizontal on the nose. I absolutely hate that. If it was vertical on the nose, or on top of the cab like some designs were, I would probably like these a little bit more. And also like the SD9, BNSF for these, that's not gonna really fly with me. But then again though, this is definitely way better than what we just saw earlier. So, C. B40-8. Again, with the horizontal headlight here. Who thought this was a good idea? That aside though, I'm kind of a sucker for Dash 8s. I'm gonna put this one at A. B40-8W. Ho, this is a good one. Like the super ugly ones, this deserves its own tier. I've said it before, I'm a sucker for war bonnets, I'm a sucker for Dash 8s. This is both of those combined, going right at the top. I don't know what it is about these units, but these look amazing as war bonnets. They top every other one. C40-8W. We're continuing down the Dash 8 train, and this one is going at the top yet again. Now when it comes to these two, I much prefer the 6-axle design more so than the 4-axle, but the 4-axle is just way too good to be put any lower. They're still Dash 8s, they're still war bonnets. If you ever ask me what my favorite diesel locomotive is, hands down, no questions asked, not even giving it a second thought, it's gonna be this one. C44-9W. These ones, like the SD40s, I love for their variety, because you have some that are painted in war bonnet, some that are Heritage 1, Heritage 2, Heritage 3, a couple of oddballs, Microsoft Train Simulator. There's just so many out there, and each kind of has its own little unique thing about them. So because of that, actually there's some that are still in war bonnet, so S tier. AC4400CW. This one I'm going off mostly paint scheme. Heritage 2 just works so well for these. And I also like these because they're not an everyday sight. At least for me anyways. Whenever I'm out watching trains, I don't see these all the time. So when I do, it's like, oh cool, it's an AC44. I'm gonna go B tier on these. The ES44 series. Okay, I actually lied earlier. These are the best locomotives. I don't know what I was thinking earlier. Who cares about the war bonnets? Gevos are the best thing in this whole world. In fact, they're so good, I'm gonna put them right here. I don't think that any other locomotive deserves to be down here any more than these ones. Okay, get ready for a rant right now, but the reason that they are actually down at D tier is because there's so freaking many on the roster. I want to say there's at least 2,500 on the BNSF roster right now, and my problem is that they all look the same. They're all Heritage 3. No matter which way you look, there's a Heritage 3 Gevo right there. There's so little that stand out between these ones, it's ridiculous. Not only that, every train I see has at least one of these on it. It is so hard to find a train nowadays that does not have one of these on it. Give me something different for God's sake, please. Just something, anything except a Gevo! Now, like I was saying earlier, there's a few that stand out. The ones that are painted in Heritage 2, those are nice to see. The 25th anniversaries are always a nice breath of fresh air. And let's not forget BNSF 7695, the Golden Swoosh. Probably the most iconic one of these out there. But that's only a small handful of these, and I want to say 150, max. They're cool to see, but every other one, no, I'm sorry for ranting like that, but I just had to point that out there. These are staying at D tier, and I highly doubt any of you can get me to change my mind. Moving on, ET44C4. These are literally no better. There might be less of them on the roster, but these are literally just Gevos, just with a bigger radiator, a box around the exhaust stack, a tinier logo, and they meet the EPA's Tier 4 emissions. That is it. SD60M. This one I have a little bit of a history with. I'm sure many of you have seen my reaction video where I reacted to my earliest videos with my idiot friend. There's one video that I did not show, and that was one that I vividly remember of me and my dad chasing a train with one of these on it, and I called it an SD70 Mac. Proudly called it, I should also emphasize. I'm glad that video, I'm pretty sure, has copyrighted music, otherwise I would be playing it right now. But aside from that video, I do love these in Burlington Northern paint, you know me. If it's an older paint scheme or a fallen flag, I'm all in. A tier. SD70 Mac. Talking to young me here, now we're talking about the SD70 Mac. Now referencing the ones in Burlington Northern's executive paint, wow, those are really nice. It's a nice change of pace from the Cascade Green that we all know and love from Burlington Northern, and it works so well on these. I love these ones. Every time I see one of those, it's a little exciting. And even the ones in Heritage too are really nice. Honestly, I wish I would see these a lot more often than I actually do, so I'm gonna go A tier on these. SD70 ACE. Like the GP60M, I used to hate these as a kid. It was the nose design for me. I did not like that. But of course, nowadays, that's different. I like these a lot more now. They're kind of like Gevos in the sense that, you know, there's really not that big of a variety, and they are a little bit more common than others. But at the same time though, there are a few that stand out. For example, Thundercabs. Those are actually really interesting. It sucks that those can't be leaders anymore, but, you know, seeing them, still cool. So I'm gonna go B tier for these ones. Last but not least, SD75. Do I even need to give an explanation for this one? Didn't think so. So I made one minor change in that I moved the SDF 40-2 to B tier. I put it at C earlier, and then later on I kind of realized, this one's a little bit better than I initially thought, so I moved it to B. But here are my final rankings. If you agree with me, awesome. If you don't, I want to hear about it. Write it down in the comments. And if I missed the locomotive that you want me to rank, write that in the comments too, and I will give you my ranking down there. But anyways, thank you all for watching. I will see you in the next one.